Welcome and thank you so much for clicking on my video. Yeah, I got my coffee ready because today we have to get into the bigger time frames and we have to get you guys some updated monthly expected moves for September. We're going to be giving those for the SPY and the Qs completely for free right here on YouTube. So just stick around for a moment here. They are going to be the yellow lines on the chart. And also you can get the rest of the monthly expected moves by joining Patreon, where we also put out some more video content during market hours so that you can react during market hours, like the one that we put out for Friday's price action. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you for clicking that like button, and let's get into it. So yes, congratulations to Patreon members and subscribers who were able to read into the most probable thing to happen for Friday. And now we're going to talk about, do we have those good daily confirmations that suggest we can head down, and where would we head down to? So congratulations, give yourself a big thumbs up, pat on the back, maybe go high five yourself in the mirror. And we need to get started. Okay, so over on Friday, we were looking at those shorter time frames, just going, hey, we see the signs that this thing can turn down on Friday, and maybe that's able to cause a chain reaction to where we start to close down on the daily MACD, close down on the daily chart. So the first thing I wanted to point out before getting, actually, let's do monthly expected moves first. 664.03 to the upside for the SPY, 626.07 to the downside. This is a 68% zone. And on Patreon, if we do see extreme volatility, we will post then the second standard deviation, aka the 95% zone. But the important thing to note here is this is a 68% zone with a 32% chance to close outside of it by the end of the month. So something that we look for, especially if you're going to see some volatility in an overall positive trend here, well, we can pay attention to these lines and look for reversal signals at them. So if you were saying, hey, this is up for a long time, I noticed the divergence on the daily scale. I noticed that divergence became significant. Something we talk about in the course is the significance of divergence, and it's coming seriously into play here. And you would say, I'm going to pay attention to this bottom line, and I'm going to look for some kind of signal that tells me it's going to turn around, because this could just be what? A weekly pullback. That's right. This signal, which we're going to go through the confirmations real quick, is overall just suggesting a weekly pullback. And I can show you an example of it in a moment. So the daily confirmations here, good confirmation from the MACD, good confirmation with the signal line from the RSI. But we do notice here that we can learn something from it. All right, we notice that there were no divergences or not even a significant divergence, but look when it becomes extremely significant, extremely significant. We pointed this out multiple times throughout the very beginning of our channel. And this is something that people really, really resonated with. They were struggling to find the easy opportunities. And this is something that is very, very helpful to understand. Understanding your MACD and RSI, not just, oh, this MACD curls up, so therefore momentum's up, but understanding the center line and understanding divergence and understanding higher lows, and just all of that is very, very important to these indicators. So, and if you mix it with what's going on with the RSI and it happens at the same time, that's what I really look for. As far as confirmations go, it's good on the MACD. It's good on the RSI. You have confirmed divergence here for your indicators, but has it confirmed with the price action? Technically, no. You would like a closing bar below the 9 on the daily scale. You would like to see that. That would give you overall a bigger confidence, but we will go into the shorter time frames over. We're going to actually put that out Monday morning or maybe Sunday night, but we will have a video out to give you guys updated weekly expected moves in a day or so. So make sure you're subscribed. And then also we will talk about what is most likely to happen going on throughout next week, as we did not close below the 9-day moving average. That being said, you have two confirmations on your MACD and RSI, so I'm pretty confident with saying that we were right to call it out. Obviously, we have a management for the trade, but this signal confirming on those indicators does suggest that a weekly pullback is very likely. Where would that weekly pullback go? Well, if we're going to pull back for, say, 3 weeks to 6 weeks, that's usually what you do. Well, if we're going to pull back for 3 weeks, we would look at the bottom side monthly expected move. If we're going to pull back for, say, 6 weeks into October expiration, well, then we would want to look for, we would look for a reaction at this lower end, but that would just be like a dead cat bounce to go down to the October low, where then we could start to reverse around. But overall, maybe that's a little too complex. I'm going to say this exactly how we talked about the 2-hour pullback. Remember, we were talking about a 2-hour pullback. All right, let's say this exactly the same. There is no divergence here. I know you're going to say, okay, yes, but this divergence has played out. I believe this is a whole new cycle move, which means we're going to see a pullback like this, or we're going to see a minor pullback like this. And you notice these pullbacks in here. This one here was great. This one right here was great because it created divergences and stuff like that. It made it very simple. But we could be in store for something more like this one right here. Just 4 weeks of pulling back right here. 4 weeks of pulling back right here. 4 weeks of pulling back just like right here. I think that's more what we would be in store for, and we would be able to base this thing out by the end of September or by October expiration. But overall, you're just looking for, hey, when that MACD curls down, when is it going to curl back up? And we will use daily timeframes in the future that tell us that this is going to fall right now. We're going to use those same signals over here to tell us when it's going to turn back around. So make sure you are subscribed. Now we can do the Qs a little bit backwards, and I want to get you guys monthly expected moves for the Qs. 595.59. That was almost a tongue twister. And then we have 545.21 to the downside for the monthly expected move. Make sure to get it on there. There's your 68% zone. Now, you have to actually look for signals down here. It's not just we get to this line and it goes back up. This is why the course is $100 this month. It's my birthday month. I wanted to give a great deal so a lot of people could come out here and learn. If we are about to go into a pullback season, you're probably going to hear a lot of people saying stock market crash, and all you have to do is pay attention to a yellow line and see if you have a reversal signal. And if you need to know what reasons for a trade to take, well, we have the full technical analysis course down there so you can actually understand all these things. It will unlock you as a trader. You will actually understand everything that is being said in my YouTube videos. You'll understand what trading like water is. You'll get a management for the trade. You'll understand weekly and monthly expected moves and have the 5 reasons that I use to take a trade. I tell you exactly what I use in order to trade and what I think is important. I don't fill it with a bunch of crap to make it seem like I'm smart. It's a very unique, short little course that just tells you, hey, here are the important things. And if you do these simple things well, you can make really good money. So I encourage you to get that this weekend. You literally have 2 days left. As far as the Qs go, pay attention because a lot of this stuff we talk about here is going to be in that course, right? It's just going to go more in depth. The weekly scale is able to turn down, right? We're looking for when is that going to curl back up into positive territory, right? That's what we will most likely be looking for. If that changes, we will change, but this is the most likely thing we're going to be looking for in the next couple of weeks, probably like month. When this weekly crosses down, we pay attention to 545. We look for all the things we learn in the full technical analysis course, and we look for that MACD to curl back up. What will we search for down at these areas? Well, if we are in some way lucky, it would be very nice for this to drag out for some time, come down in September, maybe cut it a little bit, be able to get some kind of bounce. Then we actually roll it again in October and we're able to see some kind of divergence down here. That would be fantastic. Okay, that would be phenomenal to see. We actually have an example for this right over here. So over here, now these aren't the best divergences in the world, but you can see the slight weakness in momentum. It's not the best on the MACD. Or on the RSI, it's very flat. It's very flat or down on the RSI at the same time. But this is the Qs. If you go over to the SPY and you look at this same point, you can see what turned us back around, okay? So this is very good to know, like, hey, this is probably what we're gonna look for in the next few weeks. Do the SPY or the Qs make the divergence? Very flat right here, but you notice it's not violated on the SPY. It's not violated on either indicator like it was on the Qs. That is very likely what you will be looking for right over here, okay? You will be most likely looking for something like that right in this area, and this will tell you if the weekly is able to curl up. So get some learning in this weekend. If you have some time, you should be able to finish it this weekend. This is the type of stuff you're going to need to know if you want the best position going overall long-term in markets. If you want to get the best positions, these are the things that you want to know. Now, a lot of you who probably didn't know that the sell-off was coming were wondering, how the heck did you guys know? Well, we knew because the VIX was overall suggesting on the shorter time frames. We'll go through those in the next video coming out this weekend to get you guys weekly expected moves. We'll go through the shorter time frames. But for right now, what are we looking at? Well, we just pointed out all these divergences held on the MACD. All these divergences were the main points we're holding on the RSI, which is good. That being said, we used the shorter time frames that told us that there was a reversal signal, so we were very likely to confirm this. It confirmed. Now the daily has confirmed. And is this a good confirmation? Yes, this is a good confirmation. You see that the MACD is able to give you the green blip on the histogram. You see that this is able to cross the signal line. But not only that, if this crosses that center line, boom, to the upside. And then the other thing is this was actually able to close above the 9-day for VIX. So this is a good confirmation all around, which means we are very likely to see what? A weekly curl up. We're very likely to see some kind of weekly sustainment of volatility. What do those usually look like? Well, when they go into positive territory, you can see when they go into positive territory, you can see mean ones. But this right here, as we are more negative than a lot of things in the past, if you look at this, we're pretty negative here. We are very likely to do what? Well, according to the swing trading course down there, the positioning of the MACD comes into play here. We can see huge volatility, but we could also just see a pop in volatility that's able to subside. A pop in volatility that's able to subside, maybe looking at these gaps up here, a pop of volatility that subsides is actually the most probable thing to happen here for volatility, which just means what? Volatility is telling us we need to pay attention to a weekly pullback for the SPY and the QQQs. Volatility is saying the same exact thing. So unless that changes, we would say, yeah, we're looking for a pullback here, and we could go into a negative trend for the next 4 weeks. I really don't want this video to be some kind of massive thing that takes you all weekend and gets you to think about stocks all weekend. I really just want to give an opportunity to look at some of these signals and pay attention to ones that would be riskier at the end of this video. But overall, I want you to have a good weekend. I want you to go hang out with family. If you dedicate yourself to some learning by getting the course that the sale goes away in 2 days, it's only $100, the full technical analysis course. If you want to get that and you want to learn over the weekend, I think that's great. Just make sure to treat yourself a little bit over this weekend. And I'm going to talk about the monthly scale here at the end of the video. Just because the monthly scale could be a good indication of, are we going to see something worse? And so one thing that we don't want to happen in September is we don't want this September to just be a big red bar that confirms below the monthly 9. Okay, we don't want that because that will cross over this MACD and it will confirm divergence. Now, those divergences could fix themselves and go away, but the confirmation of monthly divergence would really tell you, hey, there is some heightened risks for stocks right now. So I just wanted to discuss that for just a brief moment here for the SPY. So now you kind of go, okay, if we're going to crash down, we're probably going to confirm a monthly bar down in September. But if we're really reading the signals correctly, paying attention, that's okay for how I want to trade like water, but paying attention to what would be better. A weekly pullback, paying attention to a weekly pullback that goes down to the monthly expected move in September, or maybe it finishes itself by going down to the monthly expected move in October would be the best things to pay attention to. Where would we really want to go to as far as buyers are concerned? I think you want to go to about 605. Anywhere from 605 to about 615 look very, very good as far as buyers go, which would be a test of the weekly 20 or that little zone in between the 20 and the 50 for the weekly scale. So overall, you should know exactly what at least I can read into from the signals as of right now. With the confirmations we have right now, it says we are going to see a pullback over the next 3 to 6 weeks, and we have to do our job in between there to make some money. But at the end of it, we have to do our job to see the signals correctly, to time when it is going to turn around, and we will do that for you on this channel. And if you have trouble doing that yourself, the course is down there in the description for you. I highly encourage you get that this weekend before the sale goes away. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I really do. If you dedicate yourself to some learning, that's awesome. If you dedicate yourself to maybe doing something fun this weekend with some friends, I think that's awesome too. I think everyone should at least go get themselves a good meal, high five yourself and be like, hey, I'm ready for a good weekend. All right, guys, have a good one. Peace out.